I'm joined today on Primetime Local News by Assistant Fire Chief Christopher Hill from the Lloydminster Fire Department. Christopher, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, 'tis the season. I know that there's not a lot of snow on the ground, so some people aren't quite in the Christmas spirit, but we want to talk about fire safety at Christmas. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is real Christmas trees. While they look beautiful, sometimes people kind of forget about them and don't water them, and then they become very dry, which can be a fire hazard. So what do you guys recommend when it comes to having a real tree and making sure that it's kept safe, especially if you put lights and things near it?
Yeah, for sure. So it is the season. Everybody wants to be festive, but we want them to be safe while they're doing that. So always make sure that your tree is watered. Make sure that there is water in there. It's not drying out. Also, when you're using a lot of lights and different decorative materials on your tree, especially if it's electric or you have to plug it in, make sure that it's ULC approved, and you're not buying these things off Amazon or from the dollar store that aren't approved. Because what can happen is they can break down, and they're not approved appliances, and a lot of these things can actually catch fire. So we just want to make sure that everything's ULC approved and that people are using plugins appropriately. Don't plug in power bars to power bars. They do have their certain ratings. So just keeping things safe and appropriate.
Now, what about candles? A lot of people like to bring out, especially around Christmas time, the festive smelling candles. But as you know, if you leave them burning or forget about them, they can also cause problems too. So, what's your advice when it comes to candles?
Yeah, we always like to recommend that people start moving away from real candles and start using LED or electric candles. They still give you that kind of atmosphere that you're still using a candle. However, they don't create heat, and they can actually last a lot longer. And then if you are using real candles, we just really want to urge caution with, if you have pets nearby that they can knock them over. Don't put them near drapes and windows where a little bit of a wind gust could catch your window curtains on fire as well.
And over the holidays, as families are getting together and making meals together, often there's multiple cooks. Sometimes there's people barbecuing or deep frying turkeys outside, and then people cooking inside, which can lead to things like, oh, I forgot to do this, or maybe there's a grease fire happening. So, what do you recommend when people are cooking their holiday meals to make sure that it goes off as planned and it doesn't result in a call to the fire department?
Yeah, so cooking fire safety is really important this time of year. So actually, 27% of all of our call volume is cooking related incidents. Unattended cooking is the number one cause of cooking fires, and cooking fires are the number one cause of structure fires in the home. So we really just want to urge caution with residents this time of year. Obviously, it's a good time to have a turkey dinner and a festive holiday dinner with everybody. But a couple slogans that we like to say are "Stand by your pan." Which means, stay in the kitchen while you're cooking. Don't leave it unattended. Set a timer on your phone or, on the stove or something like that. And then hear the beep where you sleep. So we want everybody to have working smoke alarms in their home. Hear the smoke alarms from where you're sleeping. And then also close before you doze. So when you are sleeping, if you close your doors, you can actually buy yourself a lot of time if there ever was a fire. So just a couple important things to remember there.
And when it comes to gifts and unwrapping, a lot of times there is wrapping or there's gift bags, but people sometimes who have the real fireplaces will throw the wrapping into the fireplace. I'm guessing that's something that you guys don't recommend.
Yeah, so nobody should be burning anything other than Class A clean wood in their fireplace. If it's a gas fireplace, definitely don't put anything in there at all to burn. And then we also recommend, if you do have a real fireplace and you're burning real wood, that you do get it cleaned and inspected annually by a certified technician.
One thing too, most people obviously will have fire alarms in their homes, but with having guests and different people opening and closing windows and pulling into garages and that sort of thing, how important is it to also have a carbon monoxide detector in your house?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So nowadays they have combination alarms as well. So they have CO and smoke alarms. So it's a great way to have kind of an all-in-one instead of installing two different things. But it is really important to have a working CO alarm on every floor of your home as well. We do respond to quite a few CO calls as well. And we just really want to remind residents as well that if you're unsure, if your alarm's making a weird noise, if you feel weird, if you're unsure about your cooking, if you burnt something, there was a small fire, and you're really just unsure, you guys can always call 911, and we have crews on shift 24/7, 365 to serve the community. And we're always here to help out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Those are some great tips, and we hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday season.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.